Welcome to In the News with Double O Des. I'm Des Bernardo, giving you my perspective on news from South Africa and the rest of the world. Tonight, President Cyril Ramaphosa will be addressing the nation at 8 o'clock, and I'm very sure that it won't start at 8 o'clock as before. It would carry on for one and a half, even up to 2 hours that people had to wait for him to actually say something. So there's a lot of deliberations happening behind the scenes. I believe that the judgment and the previous video that I spoke of with regards to the tobacco ban case has got some relation to this. So I believe that some easing will be announced, and that because of that, the tobacco ban will probably be lifted in the near future. So there might be an announcement that things might change at month end, and therefore make it difficult for the judges to have actually made a decision with regards to the tobacco ban case. And it might be that you are going to be in for another 2 weeks of waiting before tobacco becomes available. This is pure speculation, but based on the past history, this is very, very probable. So we know at this stage that FITA has gone to court to try and get tobacco to be exported overseas, which was settled out of court because government allowed them to do that, so they conceded. Then they continued with their part B, where they wanted to allow the sale of tobacco within the country. We are awaiting that judgment. It would have been mailed to them, so they should be in possession of that judgment right now. They've made nothing public yet. They said that the public should wait for them to let them know what is happening. What I can tell you is that they don't represent you. They represent a whole lot of companies that actually pay them and fund them. So as long as these companies are making money, they are happy. So I think that there were negotiations behind the scenes, and that the court, this would make it difficult for the court to make any specific decision. We do know that FITA actually said that cigarettes will not go on sale this week. So if they know that, they are in the know with regards to what will be happening with the judgments, which means that I was correct on Monday to say that if there's no judgment on Monday, that negotiations took place. Now, in the news now, there's more court challenges happening. There's an article in Business Tech where it says new legal challenges tackle South African lockdown rules. And now the Freedom Front Plus has also joined the fray. I know the Democratic Alliance has actually taken a case to the Constitutional Court. The Freedom Front Plus is now taking a case to the Constitutional Court, wanting to say that the Disaster Management Act itself is unconstitutional, and the way that it was implemented was unconstitutional. So this is going to be an interesting challenge in the Constitutional Court. Then we had the tobacco ban court ruling. We had the level 3 and 4 lockdown regulations declared unconstitutional, but government has decided to actually appeal that case. Then we have the case in the Cape Town High Court, where the fact that people didn't get a chance for proper public participation with regards to the level 4 lockdown rules, and the CCC Command Council, that it's unconstitutional, was brought before the court. This was not done in an open court. It was obviously done through Skype or some form of communication, and that judgment is reserved. So we're waiting for that to happen at this stage. What I don't know is, with all these cases happening right now, what government must be thinking, because there's pressure mounting on them. You see, there's two things happening here. They're getting pressure from the World Health Organization, and there's lots of money involved here. Not just for them, but for big business. So there's many things that's given from other countries to South Africa. Because we're in such a bad situation, our government will just lap up anything that they can get. But there's conditions attached, and this is the trick. Now, the big problem that we are faced with at the moment is the fact that our government, they are on their knees. They can't make any decisions. They don't have the ability to make their own decisions. So big companies and the World Health Organization, they are pulling the strings. But there's one trick, and this is next year we have local government elections. And the latest that can take place is next year November, because the Constitution doesn't allow an extension beyond that time. And at the moment, these politicians are going to start going over into electioneering mode and thinking of the consequences for them come next year. If the media starts to turn bad on them for whatever reason, because the media is an embarrassment right now, so somehow for them to save face, they need to actually start telling the truth and actually doing proper journalism. Once they start doing that, the government's not going to look as good as they used to. And this creates a problem for them. Because the moment the public starts to move away from mainstream media, which they are doing right now, by, for instance, people coming to channels like this and many others for their news, this puts pressure on them. Because at the moment there's hundreds of thousands of people getting their news from social media, not from News 24 and all the other online newspapers. So this is a problem for them. So the newspapers are going to have to, and these media sites are going to have to change their strategy. They can't carry on with this lie of 20,000 people dying, for instance. They can't carry on with the lie that all the people that have been said to have died from the COVID-19 disease, that they actually had the disease. Because we know that's not true. And people, specialists and scientists are starting to speak out about this. And this is a huge problem for them. So our government soon has to save face. As long as everyone was praising them, they could carry on with the lockdowns indefinitely. Now that the people have turned, what's the first thing that happens? Opposition parties, now all of a sudden, they don't stand next to Cyril anymore to congratulate him for his actions. Now they want to fight them in court. Why didn't they do that a long time ago? And this was a government's argument with the Democratic Alliance bringing a case before the Constitutional Court that the government wants to have dismissed out of hand. They said, why did they not bring this case 2 months ago when this was implemented? Why are they bringing it now? And that's a good case to ask, question to ask the DA. Why did you wait? Because you're playing politics. That's what you're doing. You're wasting everyone's time. That's what you're doing. You are also sucking our money out of the fiscus because you're not worth the salaries you're being paid. This counts for all the people sitting in Parliament at the moment that's doing nothing to fight for your freedom. That's not speaking out for your right to freedom. At the moment, I don't see any of them fighting the way so many people, individuals, have been fighting on social media for people's rights and freedom under the Bill of Rights and our Constitution. The good parts that are there, that we actually can use them and apply them for good. But no, our government, when there's a court judgment on the level 3 and 4 lockdown, they will appeal that and say that the court is wrong. They don't believe in our own court process because we are governed by people that perform terrorist acts against the country. Treasonous terrorist acts. I don't know what else to call it. To get military to police us is criminal and treasonous. To get the police to arrest people when they're not performing level 1 crimes is treasonous and criminal. The court has ruled on this. A high court, has ruled on this twice. Not once, twice. In the Collins Khoza case, and now again with the level 3 and 4 lockdown. But do you think that government understands this? So Cyril Ramaphosa will address us at 8 this evening, and I can tell you the pressure is on him because he must be seeing power slipping from his hands faster than you can say knife. Because he knows soon, because of this tobacco situation, people will be on the streets en masse at his front door. And what is he going to do then? Then he has no power anymore. Is he going to bring in the military? What is he going to do? Well, at Marikana, he unleashed the police on a whole bunch of mine workers. And how many people lost their lives? More than 30. So don't think that Cyril is not capable of the most unthinkable things. So I'm awaiting the judgment with regards to the tobacco ban case. I believe that they're just going to allow it from level 2, which will make the ruling problematic because they're not going to get them to just outright ban it because that's what the minister asked for, and because it's a sensitive case, and I don't think FITA objected to that, they're going to allow this to continue. FITA sold you out. They wasted everyone's time. They wasted my time and your time. I'm sorry that that is the case, but that is what's happened. This is my take on it. I will be back with more snippets later on. Thank you very much.